Hi, everyone. This is Congresswoman Linda Sanchez. I hope you're enjoying your week and that you're doing well. Thank you for joining me for another Live with Linda. If you didn't know already, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it couldn't come at a better time. We are finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel after a really hard and a really tragic year. Despite more people getting vaccinated and cases dropping, we might still be feeling anxious or maybe even sad as we process this past year and think about those who we may have lost or what we might have missed out on. That's why today I'm really excited, super pleased to be joined by Dr. Monica Sanchez. She's the project's coordinator for Student Support Services and Friday Night Live program at the Los Angeles County Office of Education. Before I turn it over to Dr. Sanchez to introduce herself, I'd like to share a little bit of what Congress has done to try to address the mental health needs in the American Rescue Plan. This has been a really difficult time for many of us, dealing with added stress of not wanting to get sick or being cooped up inside and maybe juggling home life with work. For essential workers, they've been dealing with the added demands of not just work, but the fear of getting loved ones sick when they return home. And that's why we needed to make access to mental health services a priority. The American Rescue Plan, which President Biden signed into law, includes critical mental health and substance use disorder services to help our communities. In Congress, we knew how hard the pandemic impacted the mental health of many Americans. Like other members of Congress, I heard from many of my constituents, many of you called in. As a result, we increased access to critical mental health services, treatment, and prevention with $4 billion in funding. And I want to give you just a little glimpse of where this funding is going to go in our communities. It provided funds to help our certified community behavioral health clinics. Funding is going to a new program to support providers' mental health and decrease burnout among providers and public safety officers. That's really important. It includes grants for community-based and behavioral health organizations and funds to help the Pediatric Mental Health Care Access Program and additional support for Youth Suicide Prevention Program. It also has support for the National Childhood Traumatic Stress Network. I want everybody out there to know that you are not alone. I want you to know that it's okay to not be okay and to ask for help or to seek help. Today, Dr. Sanchez and I are going to try to answer a few questions that my office has received about social isolation, anxiety about reopenings, and mental health. Dr. Sanchez, I want to turn it over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Part of my background is I have my bachelor's degree in psychology and in social welfare. And I went to Cal Berkeley, so go Bears.
Go Bears.
And I also received my doctorate and my master's degree in education from UCLA. And I work currently in student services at the LA County Office of Education. So specifically, I specialize in substance abuse prevention, including alcohol, drug, and tobacco prevention, smoking prevention among youth. And we work throughout Los Angeles County. So that's a little bit about my background in my current job.
Thank you. And I'm also going to throw in a Go Bruins for your for your work at UCLA.
Yes.
Really appreciate that intro, Dr. Sanchez. I want to jump into some of the questions that we've received at my office. So the first question is going to be for you, Dr. Sanchez. Somebody asked, what virtual resources are out there for mental health and how can students and or their parents access them?
Yes, I think the thing that is most important is that prevention and youth prevention is important, and that's where my expertise is. There's level of prevention, of preventative measures, of taking healthy coping mechanisms and coping techniques that we need to teach students. And so a lot of our work is school-based. But for instance, if you have cell phones, there are a lot of apps available, such as Mindspace, that you can download and take some time for relaxation and meditation. through specifically through LACO, you can work with the after school programs. And these are school-based programs. So I recommend if a parent and their child are having trouble, to reach out to their school district and to their principal, their teacher, and the counselors on the school site and see what programs they have available. So for instance, our Friday Night Live program, you might think, how is an after school program related to drug prevention or alcohol, underage drinking or smoking prevention? And how they're connected is that a lot of times the after school program will have coaches, they'll have sports, they'll have art. We participate in a lot of art programs. So specifically, just coming out of the pandemic, I recommend to parents to reach out specifically to the on-site teacher, counselor, and principal. But if you don't feel comfortable or don't know where to go, look online for any apps. Specifically, our youth today are very technology savvy, and look for meditation and relaxation apps to help them. Um, but then there's another level, which we'll talk about, I guess, in a little bit related to treatment.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez, for answering that. A school district, good starting point, right, for students and their parents. Now, during the pandemic, the county saw a big increase in drug and alcohol consumption in direct relation to decreased mental health, pretty much from the isolation of having to stay at home and not go out. Where can individuals seek programs or assistance to cope if they're struggling with a substance abuse issue?
Sure. Within specifically Los Angeles County, there are a lot of free services available. And thank you to the federal funds. The substance abuse and mental health services are really strong in LA County. There is a hotline that we call Sash, Substance Abuse Services Hotline. And it's directly, that number is 1-844-858-9940, or you can Google Los Angeles County Sash, SASH, and that will take you directly to any referral. You do not need to have a social security number, any age, any ethnic group, any services. They'll connect you to some a county provider, a school, or any service provider in the area, depending on your level of need and what's going on in your life. So I recommend reaching out to our county partnerships to find a specific provider that will help you out with your needs locally.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. Now, this was a question I got from a teacher. They wrote, I am a teacher and have seen how the loss of loved ones during the pandemic has really affected families. How can we help to ensure that resources like grief counselors reach those who are in need?
Yeah, that is a difficult question. If they are not able to reach out to the school district specifically, I recommend visiting our online resources at lacoe.edu. That's our main LACO website, the LA County Office of Education. From there, you can click on drop-down menu to Student Services. And you can also have a drop-down menu to Curriculum and Instruction Services. There is a mental health website, suicide prevention website. So internet based is easy, but you can also call the county phone number, and we can guide you through the process if there's someone that doesn't speak English or doesn't have easy access to a smartphone or internet access. So those are the ways that I recommend to get initial services. But primarily reach out to the principal, the teacher, and more locally at your school site to let them know what's going on and communicate to them the needs.
Thank you. I'm going to try to answer this one. The question we received was, I am a caregiver and I barely have time for myself. What can I do to help my mental health and self-care? I think a lot of people might still be feeling this way. And I want people to know that you're not alone. I have a son, and so I've had to deal with work and distance learning. And I'm a part-time caregiver for my mother who has Alzheimer's. So I know how emotionally and physically draining caregiving can be. If you're a caregiver for children or elderly parents, you absolutely have to take a little time for yourself. And what you do with that time is up to you, but make sure you carve out some time for yourself. Whether that's, taking a break from the news, telling yourself, I'm not going to listen to the news today, or taking care of your body by you going out for a brisk walk or doing maybe a little bit of yoga. When I really need to clear my head, or I just need to get out of the house and have some, space for myself, I take my dog for a walk. And so I'm doing something good for the dog, but it's also helping my mental health because I get to take a break and leave and get outdoors in the fresh air and the sunshine. Even if even if it's only 10 minutes, I have learned, and I've been using these breathing techniques to try to, focus myself, to try to release anxiety and stress. And something else that I found is really helpful, and this is, just one of my little things, is watching something funny on TV, even if it's just for 15 minutes, but how, like, laughing out loud is such a good stress reliever, and it makes you feel better afterwards. I guarantee you, if you watch something silly or stupid on TV for 15 minutes and you laugh out loud, it's going to reduce the tension. Maybe you want to just put your headphones in and listen to your favorite song, or a couple of favorite songs if you've only got like 10 minutes. Or I do this too, put your earphones in, or if I'm alone at the house, I crank the music up and I just dance around. Nobody's looking, nobody's around. I'm in my own home, just dance around, and physically that feels good, and definitely mentally that helps me kind of clear out my headspace. And if you're really struggling, call a friend or a family member, connect with your loved ones, somebody who will take some time to listen to you and to interact with you. But know that you're not alone. Everybody is sort of struggling with all of these things, and connecting with people can really help. Those are just some of the very basic kind of tips that I would give. But Dr. Sanchez, is there anything else that you might add to that?
Yes, I want to remind people that you don't, there's the spectrum between pet prevention. You're trying to prevent a mental health crisis, and you need to take care of your own physical and mental health. So if you've ever flown on a plane, they will make an announcement to secure, and I have a son as well, going through the pandemic, working full time and all of my tasks. And so the on the plane, the instructions will be, should the cabin pressure drop, you secure your mask first, and then assist your child or someone else who may need assistance. So that's a great analogy for our mental health as well, and physical health. If you're not healthy and can't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be able to help the ones that need caring for either. So if you can't breathe, how are you going to help your child that needs help as well? So we really have to remember to make a list. I recommend to my students and friends, make a list, even if it's a short list of 1 to 3 things that you enjoy doing alone. That's not a chore. And something that you can do, like if it's going for a walk, start a walking club with 2 or 3 of your best friends. That's allowed outdoors, social distancing. If you have your vaccine already, that's something that you could easily do. If you like tennis, find a partner, find someone that likes to play tennis. If you like to do anything, drawing, listening to music that I have a happy playlist. I use Pandora, and I have a happy playlist, and I play that music just to help myself unwind at night. I like to use aromatherapy candles and essential oils. There are also if faith-based apps that you can use to download prayers that will help you through your day if you're too tired to read. So there's a number of things. Make a list of 1 to 3 things that you can do by yourself. That's not a chore, and make sure to do that preventative care. So there's prevention, But then if you really do have a crisis, a death in the family, or you're having suicidal thoughts and you just can't get those dark thoughts out of your head, then that takes you over to you might need treatment, you might need to get help from someone else. And that is where you need to call those county hotlines, and not only just call a friend, but make sure you reach out to someone who can help you, whether it's a counselor, a social worker, someone that can help get you through those crises. So I wanted to share that.
All excellent suggestions. And I really love your analogy of you have to take care of yourself first. You have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can help others. That's caregivers tend to put other people first all the time, but you do need to take care of yourself or you're not any good to the people that rely on you. This is a similar question to the last one. It's, you know, I'm a parent who's been struggling to juggle life at home while also working from home. What has helped for yourself as a mother? I talked about some of the tips, but one of the other tips, this especially came in handy when I was working and my son was, doing virtual school, just taking a break. And what I would do is like put on music and just shaking yourself out with my son. We would just like shake for 2 minutes, the length of a song, and just get the blood flowing through our bodies again. That always kind of helped clear my mind. I talked about taking the dog out for a walk or listening to an upbeat song and dancing around like a mad woman. Those were the breathing techniques. And sometimes I would give my son, like a project to do that he could do in his room that wasn't school related, but something fun. And I'd be like, okay, for the next half hour, stay in your room and, work on this project, whether it was a drawing or a painting. And I would go to my room and I would close the door and oftentimes just put on like the ceiling fan for the white noise and just read or listen to music or just lay down even for half an hour, and it made a big difference for me. I love the idea that you suggested of like aromatherapy or scented candles, maybe a bath and a bath bomb, or I don't know, Dr. Sanchez, what else would you recommend for moms that are struggling to do it all?
I think moms and caretakers, we also have guilt. And for myself, I couldn't hire a babysitter during the pandemic because we couldn't bring someone into my home. So I had to rely on my family members, like my sister and my mom, which caused me more guilt because I have a niece. My sister has a 2-year-old as well. And so one thing that we figured out was that we would swap days. So I would assist my sister on Mondays and babysit my niece for a couple hours. And she participated in her online, she has a support group that she does online. And I would walk my niece in a stroller. And then on Sundays, I love to exercise, hike, or golf. So she would watch my son for me on a weekend for a couple of hours. And I had a lot of guilt because my sister and all the women that I know are already taxed, but I feel like I'm doing a favor for them as well. So if you have somebody that you can share those tasks with, where you alternate days or just even 1 hour, where you get that mind break, don't feel guilty, reach out for help. And I myself need to follow that as well. I've had friends that when I wasn't feeling well, delivered food to me. And at first I'm like, no, 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 I don't need it. But then later on, I would think about it. That really did help me. And it helped me from having to do dishes. It helped me from making sure I ate nutritious food. And so accept help and ask for help when you need it. That's my advice.
Oh, that's
Um,
such great advice. Ask for help. Admit when you need help. We
yes.
try to do it all and it wears us down. And sometimes you need to ask for help. And I love that idea. I did a lot of baking during pandemic and I would deliver treats to my neighbors because my neighbors would do me favors like, if I couldn't be around to to feed the dog or whatever. So look for community like that. Look for, somebody that you can trade favors with. And that's really great advice.
Yes. Thank you.
Um, so as the county moves back to in-person learning, because that's coming up for many, can you tell us how agencies are helping transition to keep the families, the students, and the teachers safe as schools begin to move to in-person learning?
Sure. Each school district is coming up with their own safety plan. And so you can find more information on the lacoe.edu website, as well as the school's website or the school district's website. But some things that are being done, for instance, are staggered times, staggered schedules. So students, for instance, with the alphabetical order, A through C last names will enter school between 7:30 a.m. and 7:45. And the later alphabets come in at 7:45. And then the bell will ring at 8 a.m. So everyone does not arrive at the same time. There are still schools that are going to be offering hybrid in class and online educational opportunities. So if anyone should feel ill or if anyone doesn't feel safe, they may have the option, depending on their school district and their school, to continue online learning. In addition, there are the safety precautions. For instance, at my son's school, there are questions that they ask every day, each parent, that they ask questions if you've been exposed to anyone with COVID, have you been out of the area? There's a series of questions they're going to ask. So it's going to take a little bit longer, I think, to drop off the kids in the morning. But I myself don't exit the vehicle. Parents don't get out of the car. We have a designated drop-off location, which is another thing that school districts are doing. So the TK through second graders will be dropped off in the parking lot. The old upper grades will be dropped off in the front part of the school. So there's going to be staggered locations, staggered times, hybrid in portions of the day in class, other days alternating out of school. There's a number of things that are going to be done. In addition, parents have the freedom. For instance, for me, we use apps like Class Dojo to check in with the teachers and make sure that our children are doing okay. They do have to wear masks. Several teachers I know have been vaccinated, and so we recommend that if you're able to, and to do your research on the vaccines, and we're an advocate for being sure that you practice health and safety.
Great, thank you. So they are taking, as you just heard, different precautions to ensure everybody's safety. I want to just remind everybody one last time that you are not alone in what you are feeling or going through. Many of us have experienced a lot of the same stress. But there are really great resources that can help you during this time. And I want to just talk about some of the national resources that are out there. And I'll let Dr. Sanchez share resources for students and their families. Again, I know that she's given you some websites and some phone numbers, but so if you've got a pen, these are the national resources. First of all, there's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and that number is 1-800-273 8255. Again, 1-800-273-8255. There's a disaster distress hotline, and that number is 1-800-985-5990. Again, disaster distress hotline, 1-800-985-5990. Trevor Project Lifeline, which is a resource for LGBTQ youth and allies in crisis or need. That number is 1-866-488-7386. Again, that's the Trevor Project Lifeline for LGBTQ youth and their allies who are in crisis. 1-866-488-7386. And the Veterans Crisis line for veterans is 1-800-273-8255. Again, Veterans Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Dr. Sanchez, what are some of the important numbers or websites that individuals can reach out to if they need additional support?
Sure. At the county level, you can visit LA County, which is, I'm sorry, LACOE.edu. You can reach several of the county resources, school districts, specifically if it's related to mental health or student services. You drop down to a menu that reads student services, and you will find more information on after school programs, student attendance, any of our services related to support, child health and student services, anything related to health, we can help you and find you assistance. But the county level substance abuse, the Sash hotline that I mentioned is very useful as well. And that is 1-844-858-9940. And that is for specifically substance abuse, substance health services.
Great. Well, I want to thank everybody who joined us to watch us go live. And I want to thank Dr. Monica Sanchez again for joining me today to talk about an issue that is really, really important. Before I wrap up, I just want to say one last time, you're not alone. If you are having a hard time or you need someone to talk to, please reach out to a friend or some of the groups that are listed on the screen. As always, if you have a question that we didn't get to answer today, please don't hesitate to reach out to my office. You can leave a comment, message, or contact me through my website. And I hope that everybody continues to stay safe. And finally, if you have the opportunity, don't delay in getting your COVID-19 vaccination. It's time to roll up your sleeve and get vaccinated so we can get back to more of the pre-COVID normal that we were used to before. Thank you, everybody. Please stay safe and be well. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.